What's up, everybody? Welcome to Happily Ever After Party. Today we're discussing if couples can be in friendships with the opposite sex. What do you think?
I think it depends on the two individuals.
Well, let's get into it.
These my dads make it hurt.
Okay, so we've come to some pros and cons of if guys and girls can be friends with the opposite sex while they're in a relationship.
Yeah, more so just points, I think.
Yeah.
Not really
What
and cons.
do you have like a hard take on it?
What do you mean?
If they can be friends?
I definitely think that they can be friends. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it depends on the person. I mean, you have to be trustworthy and, you've got to do the right thing. Be a good moral stand-up individual.
Do you think that this topic has ever caused like friction in our relationship?
Yes.
I think so too. I would agree with you on that.
Yes.
All right. So the first point that we have, and this is kind of an easy point. Mm-hmm. It's grandfathered friends. So friends that you carried into the relationship that were pre-existing.
Right.
They kind of get grandfathered in. I feel like in most cases, in our cases, I had a lot of female friends that I carried into a relationship, mm-hmm. and you never have a problem with any of them.
No, I don't think I do. I think the only real problem that I have is friends that, you've dated in the past. I mean, because you still remain friends with a lot of your exes, not like
not
hang
anymore.
out and talk or anything really, but, you still talk on like Facebook and Messenger and things like that.
Well, I did like early in our relationship. I don't think I've talked to any of my exes really since we got married, except for like, congratulations on your marriage or something.
Right. Well, I guess my bigger thing is...
That's when they cut it off. They're like, oh, no chance no more.
No
I'm
chance
done.
now. He's married
done.
Man. No, but I think it's more like friends that you hadn't been friends with for a very long time. You've got friends that you've been with for years that you brought into the relationship, and I think that was absolutely fine. But then there are friends that you had just recently made that you kind of brought into the relationship when we first started talking, or not brought into the relationship. That sounds bad.
Yeah, no.
But that people that you were friends
sexually.
with had become friends with recently. Because, I definitely think, females and some males have a really good intuition sometimes about other people's intentions.
Yeah, I agree with that because on our first like hangout, one of my female best friends was with us. We went out to dinner as a group, and when we left, she was like Kaysi's into you, and I'm like, what do you mean? So like she had that intuition, and she turned out to be right.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. Most people can tell.
And males have that intuition too. They know that like that wolf creature inside that's like, oh, he's playing like, trying to friend you up, but he's like really on the prowl.
Yeah, and I think it's hard sometimes, like when you have somebody that you think you are just being friends with, you're just friendly with, that's all you think of them as, but maybe they have another idea.
Yeah.
I think that's hard, and I think that it's hard for like you to spot that.
Yeah.
When you're just thinking of them as a friend. But
so you trust your intuition?
Yeah.
Pretty strongly?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about when you have pre-existing friends, and this wasn't our case, but if you did have a pre-existing friend and then your significant other was like, you can't talk to them anymore?
I've actually had that happen to me in a relationship, and I hate that. I didn't talk to a very good friend for many years because of a relationship, and that's awful.
Right.
I just feel like we lost so many years and so many things that we could have shared and experienced together.
Red flag?
Red flag.
Big red flag.
Big red flag. I think another good thing about having the opposite sex as a friend is that they give you a different perspective on things. A lot of males tend to think alike, and vice versa. A lot of females tend to think alike. And I think sometimes it's easier hearing from maybe a female friend how your partner might feel about a certain situation, because if you talk to your guy friends, they're just going to be like, oh, well, what's her problem? But a girl would be like, I know what her problem
That's
is.
true.
Let me tell you.
That's true. The boys will always have your back.
Yeah, yeah.
Always have your back. And then, I've got, Sarah, and she's sometimes alleviated complications she's had because hearing it from you is one thing, and hear it from her and my sister and all these, whoever else. I'm like, oh, man, all right. Like, I'll fold on this one. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's important. Say you're saying it's important.
I do think it's important to have friends of the opposite sex. They just give you a different perspective on things.
Another thing I want to touch on is like being aware of your partner's trust issues, or if your partner has trust issues. I think you did have trust issues. I don't feel so much like that now. I haven't got that feeling from you lately, but early on.
I think in a lot of cases when you first meet somebody, you do have those kind of a lot of people have those kind of trust issues. Like
based
you
on
have
your
that
past.
Right. You have a wall built up. You don't want somebody to hurt you. So it takes some time. I mean, it's been a while. We're married now, so
Yeah. Maybe that's what did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that could kind of go two ways. Like you have, I mean, at least I feel like your partner can have like toxic trust issues.
Yeah.
Where it's
that's
just
true.
really,
Yes.
you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I mean they've known you for years and you've given them no reason to have a
Yeah.
trust issue, but they still have that. Yeah. That's an issue with them.
I don't even like if it's been less than that, but you haven't given them reason to, and they are like calling you out on things, and I like trust issues is a real thing, and either it can be worked through like carefully, and you can like just assure your partner like, hey, like I love you, like you don't have anything to worry about. But then you also know people say that shit and still they lie. So
they lie.
Yeah, but I mean, at least in many of my relationships, that's been a point of like frustration, with just like I've given you no evidence.
Right.
That made me sound guilty.
But look I showed you no evidence.
No
hit
evidence
all the
has been
evidence.
revealed yet.
I hit all the evidence very well.
Yeah, but it gets so frustrating.
But that's you know yourself. You know where you are. You're in your mindset.
Right.
Whether you're being trustworthy or not, but somebody else doesn't know that unless they're with you 24/7. And
yeah, in our case, like we dealt with that and we overcame it, which is nice.
Another thing, I mean, you can't just alienate half the population. I mean, based on their gender, that really, it inhibits your ability to diversify yourself and grow as a person if you get stuck with just one type of gender.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does. I mean, yeah, if you're just hanging out with guys, your perspectives are going to revolve around specifically that. But I also think it's crazy to tell your partner, hey, now that me and you are a thing, half the population is gone, like the 50% gone. Like,
Yeah,
that's just like a crazy idea.
They have nothing to offer me.
Yeah, they have nothing to offer you. There are no such thing as platonic relationships anymore. Like that just seems absurd to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We touched on this before, but like me or someone being in a friendship with one of their exes.
Again, I think that it depends on the type of relationship. I mean, I think a big thing for a lot of people, if you have a situation like that, is the new partner needs to try to get to know the old partner. If you share like a child with somebody, you shouldn't expect your partner to stop talking to your child's parent.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's a
I
different
feel
situation.
But I feel like it relates in the same way. I mean, you still had a relationship with this person.
Yeah.
You have, maybe not that
their new person
relationship.
should expect that person to be a part of their lives because they have to be.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is, if those two people want to remain friends and that's important to your partner, you should make an effort to try and at least get to know the other person instead of just saying, no, you guys had sex a couple times. That's going to be a no.
Yeah. That was, not in our relationship, but in previous relationships, where I had like one of my like high school sweethearts was still friends with my family, and like we were still kind of friends, and that was like, very difficult for a lot of the girls I dated through college. They were very uncomfortable with it, and at that point in my time, I was like, I didn't even understand. Like I literally did not understand what was complicated about it, or like what upset him about it. Now I feel like I can kind of get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably upsetting.
I think a lot of people just feel, especially when it's like a childhood sweetheart or
Yeah.
somebody that you dated for a long time or have a lot of history with. I think that's just
Yeah.
a little intimidating sometimes. You know, you
Now
always
she's
makes
got
you
like
worry.
9 kids.
Jeez,
It's a lot.
that's a lot.
And there was that, I think we touched on it before, but there was that scenario or situation where I was like babysitting my ex's dog, or like like sharing custody of my ex-girlfriend's dog for a while when we first started dating.
Yes.
And you didn't have a fucking problem with that at
Oh,
all.
she was the sweetest little thing.
Yeah, that's why I guess that way you didn't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
But it felt weird. Like I'd go meet her at like Mellow Mushroom, and she'd like hand the dog off to me, and I'd bring her back on Monday.
Like a custody situation.
Yeah, like a custody situation, which is like bizarre. Again, it wasn't bizarre to me,
Yeah.
but
I
looking
mean,
back at it, you're like, well, that was maybe a little
no.
strange.
I mean, I've been a dog mom for many, many years, and I know that dogs can feel like your children, and so I definitely wouldn't want to cut you off from
Yeah,
little Anna.
that's fair.